Part 2 of the 1958 Emerson TV with AM radio. Part 1 was an analysis. Let's see if we can get the AM radio part to work here in Part 2. And then in Part 3, we'll fix and hopefully resurrect the TV. The radio will help cover some of the circuits of the TV at least. But let's just dive right into it and try and resurrect the AM radio. First thing I need to do is come up with a resistor to eliminate the two TV tuner tubes and the CRT, since we're just working on the radio in this video. And also, in the previous video, they converted this from a 25 volt tube to a 12 volt tube, but they only added about 7 ohms where they need to add, I don't know what it was, 20. So we have about, say, 8 to 10 extra volts here. Then we have the 2 here and the 6.3 for the CRT. Now, very conveniently, this is the tuner and this is the CRT. Now, I did find another modification here, which was a 51 ohm resistor in parallel. I'm sorry, in parallel with the 2 tuner tubes, which I don't know what the hell they're doing here. I have a feeling they might have changed some of these other tubes to make up for the voltage, extra voltage from there, but I don't know where. I don't know what they did. Because the tubes were missing, it's all a mystery. So, again, since we're just doing the radio video, we need to come up with a resistor to offset and bypass these 3 tubes. So I put it in the Ohm's law calculator and I'm looking for about 33 ohms. So I got a bunch of these and these are big, massive power resistors, variable, I think they call these rheostats. So I'm just looking through for something. This is 150. This would probably work, but I'm just looking for something maybe a little bit closer. Yeah, just plugging it into the online DigiKey Ohm's law calculator, 33 ohms at 12 watts. I found a 50. This is a 50 ohm. I think that would probably be the best. That's 100. That's really high. You can tell by how fine the windings are. This is 1 ohm. Well, this one here is 35 ohms. Now, I wonder what the wattage on these things. You know, if you ever see these things, grab them, because they're great for doing stuff like this, dialing stuff in. Well, this one gives us a little bit better of an idea. Insulated for 300 volts. Look at this, 0.71 amp. Well, we're going to be doing 0.6 on this. So that would be really close to the rated limit on this. So this one here might be a little bit too small. I might just go with this one, since it, I don't know, it's hard to tell. Next thing I'm doing, I'm just kind of skipping around here, is I'm cleaning this function switch. It goes between TV, phonograph, and radio. And we're going to just put it on radio and leave it. Might as well clean the volume control. That way nobody yells at me. Spray these 2. I don't know what the bottom one is for here. This is a dual section pot. So clean this. This stuff is also corroded and rusted and crusty. The next thing we can do is dim bulb this thing, because we don't have the filament circuit completed on the tubes. Still have several missing tubes. These capacitors are junk, and the odds are they're going to have to be changed even before we can get the radio to work. But let's try dim bulbing them. We have a solid state or selenium rectifier here. So we can just put voltage straight into it. And I'm going to go with a very small bulb. I forget what this thing is, 4 or 5 watts. And I know, yeah, I'm jumping around here. All right, here we go. So again, power up. Now I almost believe this should just completely go out. I mean, there's the power supply right there. Of course, the slower you reform the capacitor, the better. 2.5 watts. Pretty low. Like I said, there should be almost no load here. I'm clipped onto the plate of the converter tube. We got 50 volts with the switch in that position. I'm moving the function switch. So obviously we had it in the right function. It looks like it actually has some capacitor there. See how it's taking its time to discharge? So that is in radio mode. What I'm doing is I'm just letting this sit. And you can see it looks like there is actually some capacitor reformation going on here. It's 426. Let's give it a while and let it reform and let's see what it comes up to. Well, a little bit of time has gone by there and the voltage has come up quite a bit. Remember, we started at 50 volts. And look at the light bulb is almost completely out now. So that's these capacitors reforming. And yeah, I mean, you could just let them reform overnight. The odds are they're bad. They need to be replaced. We know that. If I can get away in this video without replacing them, that's great. Because the owner, the young guy that owns this, he could use the practice and experience doing that stuff. So if I can get this to work without having to touch these junk cardboard caps, then that's great. We'll let him do that. So I'm going to just let it keep cruising here for a while. We've dropped down to 1.5 watts. So this is a real slow reform. Real slow. It's about as slow as you can do. If I would have just powered this up, those capacitors would have overheated and probably bulged and vented. You can't do that. You got to go real slow. And it's nice. It's real nice on a series string set because you can just get all the loads out of the way. If we can get an idea what's actually reforming here. 1 watt is not a lot of heat, but yeah, I would say it's this one. Yeah, you can see there where it's hot. Just trying to pinpoint it. Yes, I am wearing gloves. That is warm. I can feel that with my hand. There is heat right here. Yeah, it's cold there. It's hot there. There is heat there. Wait. This is another paper capacitor that's getting warm. Wow, the papers are so damn leaky that they're showing up in the electrolytic reforming. Kind of wandered off for a little bit, and this is what we've come up to. Now, looking at it with the thermal camera, this is the capacitor right here that was getting slightly warm. And we have a couple resistors down there that are getting warm, and that is a voltage divider network. I found it here. It's right here. 130 volts or 27K, and then a 15K to ground. So that is what's getting hot down here. And then I believe we had a wax capacitor over there that was getting slightly warm. Not surprising, looks good. Don't know about the ESR on the capacitors, but I think we've reformed them. I don't know, what's it been, 2.5, 3 hours? So I'm going to let it sit overnight, and then we'll come back. I'm not going to touch it. Just going to power down. We'll come back tomorrow, and we'll see if they hold their formation. It's now the next day, and let's see if the capacitor stayed reformed or if it needs further visit to the re-education camp. So I think we were at about 105 volts when I walked away. And let's see, it looks like it sort of might have stayed reformed. I'm still going through the little tiny light bulb. But yeah, it's looking good. So the next thing I need to check is some of these paper capacitors. See, we're almost back up to 105 now. But like this capacitor right here, and let's see, there should be another one over here somewhere. No? Where's the volume control? This capacitor here, the 0047, and the main one we want to check is the 022, because we have 50 volts here, we should have 0 here. Let's just measure across this 470K resistor. We can do this without the filament lit, and we'll see if this is, leaking and is going to destroy the tube. In fact, we can just measure right here on this pin of the tube. Let's take a look at the SAMs. So we want to look at pin 2 and 5. And I don't really know if we need to worry about that right now. But let's look at pin 2 and 5. It should be 0. You can just... This is a... Oh God, I can't get to that from the top. Cheap ass tube seconds. This is a 12C5. It's basically the same as a 50C5, except it's a 12 volt filament. How can I get to that? I think I'm on pin 2 there, and we have 2 volts. So hell yes, that paper capacitor is leaky. In fact, here's a capacitor here, so we have 2.2 volts on that side of it, and then on this side we should have probably quite high because the tubes are not conducting. 105 volts. So it's slightly leaky because when the tube filaments heat up, this is going to drop from 105 down to 50 when the audio amp tube starts conducting. So I don't think we need to stress over that yet. But yes, all these capacitors need to be replaced. All these paper capacitors. I want to take the ESR tester to these electrolytics to see if they're any good. I mean, just because we reformed them does not mean we didn't open them. And I think I'm seeing more modifications and possibly a bodged repair here. Look at this solder joint right there. I think this capacitor might be an add-on, and it might just be paralleled. What is the value of this? Oh yeah, good solder there, dude. Dual dandy. 50 picromuffs with failing solder joint. And those 2 leads come down to here and here. More modifications. And look at this solder joint right here. I can't believe that would be factory either. This Bodge-O-Matic. I'm really not totally sure what's going on, but it looks like the red lead from this capacitor has been disconnected and tied to ground. This capacitor over here, this is the one that was getting slightly hot. The green element from this capacitor, green section, has been paralleled with this yellow capacitor. This green section of this capacitor has been cut and moved here. I don't wonder why this thing ended up in the trash. This section here, I don't know. All of these leads have been, like this lead here has been cut, and take the ESR meter and we'll check these and see if they're any good. Okay, here we go. Chlornospromulate. Okay, we'll start here. That'll pass. Okay, so that yellow dry electrolytic is okay. It's not great. Okay, this is the section, one of the others, that's pretty tired. This is the section, one section of the one that was getting warm. That's okay. So that's, how about, that's this, how about this right here? 3 ohms, that's pretty tired. Okay, we got yellow. That's really tired. Okay, I think this is going to be okay, at least for the radio part. Might get a little bit noisy when we load it up with the TV, but under a light load it should be okay. This is 12AX4. This is a damper, but I need this as part of the series string, and grab this out of the used pile, and it's bad. It's not even lighting up. Crap. 12W6. This is a vertical output, but again, I need it for series stringage. Yeah, that's okay. If I plug the 12AX4 in here, it lights up. What's up with this? For 12AX4, it says H11. For socket number 11, A5. For 6AX4, it says H11 or E11. Socket 11. What's up? Well, now I plug it into socket 11 and it works. I don't know. The trick is, does it complete the circuit in the TV? We're about ready to go here. About showtime. We got the speaker. We got the 2 tuner tubes. We got the rest of the tubes. I got the variable resistor here. So I should, if I touch this here, the light should come on. That is correct. Now there's 2 ways we can do this. We can measure the voltage across one of the tubes, or we can use a milliamp meter. I think I'll use a milliamp meter and just adjust it for 600 milliamps. Milliamp meter here. Let's go up to 60 watt, which should probably definitely not be enough because we need basically probably not even enough to heat the tubes. Probably need at least 200 watts. It's only giving us 370 milliamps through the filament string. We're going to go up substantially here to either a 200 or a 300 watt bulb. Huh? 560 milliamps. I got this resistor all the way open. Wow, it's getting hot already. Oh! And the first thing out of it when it's resurrected is your bank deposits are going to be sucked out by Jerome Powell and burned. Wow, is that getting hot. Now see, I can adjust this. Ooh, baby, this is underpowered for this. But I can adjust this. I should be able to bring this right up to what I want. I don't think it likes it. That doesn't seem right. So with it all the way bypassed, it's only 620 milliamps. Maybe that's because the light bulb is limiting. Yeah, I think the light bulb's limiting. Well, the AM radio is working.
Some impoverished, some alone, still bring tears to my mother's eyes. She often recalls her experiences, and I can only too clear rejection. But when I do pro athletes or elite athletes, or someone who flies in from another country or from across the country, I may actually inject them every day for 4 or 5 days. Just to put as many cells as I can into that area, because they're leaving. But if it's someone local, the typical process is,
hey, I'm sorry, you were promised $100,000 a year, but now you're getting $40,000.
No antenna on it.
So what is that? What is that?
I hear that a lot, actually. It's surprising, but yeah.
Angry, and he sent and killed all the children in Bethlehem.
Can't throw Notre Dame in there.
Array of both knowledge and functionality, and in a way that,
A lot of interesting carriers here. Are we at the top of that? No, that's the bottom of the band.
In case you're just joining us, we've been talking in this hour about this. We do it from a place of that we do it from a place of power, that we do it from a place of being who we want to be and not who society says we should be.
I believe in North Carolina, was approached by her manager. She had blondish, brownish colored braids, and the manager told her she was going to give her a couple days off to go home and, change her hair. It wasn't her natural hair color. And I checked in Chick-fil-A's handbook. It actually does say their grooming policies. You cannot have off-color hair. But I believe that's meant more for red, yellow, purple. So the sister got sent home, and her mother was totally confused because she's like,
Hair discrimination. Should we see if we can get this is a test lady? So here's the thing. Everybody always asks, what frequency is this is a test lady? I have no idea. 1710 maybe? It's up above what these old receivers pick up. So you have to come in and
우리가 쓰고 있는 이제
These these are weird. I've never heard these in a radio before.
물에 정말 잘 녹습니다. 그래서 보통 이제 제가 그 희귀 유황을
Doesn't look like it's good enough to get it. Oh yeah, there it is right there. There she is. So, what I know about this. Let me fill you in on what I know about this. So, what I understand this is this is a Caltrans information, like freeway information road sign thing. And it's around 1700 to 1710. It's right at the top of the band. And these older radios, they don't go up high enough. So you have to come in and tweak the oscillator up high enough to get this. This is a test thing. So it's just a highway information road sign thing that they never use. And it was offline for almost a year. We had a big rainstorm last year and it went quiet. But recently I noticed it was back. So we just had another big rainstorm and whatever. So it's back. So everybody should be happy now. No silver mica disease here. No silver mica disease. This is working good. It's debatable. Well, this was... It seems much weaker than it used to be, too. So what you really need to do now is you need to tweak this back down. The way I usually set these is I tweak this back down to Black Lives Matter radio. Because even this station's up above what, should be on this old radio. Oh?
I want to write a book. I want to write a book, but I don't know how. I don't think anybody will care. Or there's so many books on the topic already. None of that matters. If God put
Best of Asia.
Then what I'll do is I'll bring this down to around, 1260 or so.
Stem cell therapy on.
Right there, the classical station. Then I'll peak the antenna trimmer.
And that
We keep our
Think about some things. If we're not going to change.
¿Qué es Invisalign?
I was about ready.
it by 150. 9.7%. Nothing happened.
There's a lot of weird noises in this AM radios.
And that is what we have tried to create.
Guard, and then of course, just grub and
Now, saying you might be getting some money. It's probably going to be about 6. Amazing how consistent
The hill didn't.
Jordan down left alley, gets in the body of Corporate.
outlets to have had sex room is no longer employed on them. But
Wow, are those hot. Look at how bright. That 12C5 is bright.
you need to, because Michigan has one of the best rushing defenses in the country. But the objective is the precious child. The incomplete component.
Map this out. If you're just looking, what number's better? Which is a better option for you? This is a very individualized decision because you have to think about yourself, you're thinking about your spouse, thinking about your family. Steven, you've been doing this since 1976. These are a lot of choices.
They are, and some people, my oldest sibling is a teacher, and she was offered this, and she got 100% of salary, and this was the absolute right choice for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I see lots.
Bush is one of the top guys in the world, and is devastated. There was one time.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt.
Okay. Sorry this wasn't more impressive. I really expected us to have to do silver mica surgery on these. I really did. But see, now that we got this, all I got left are the tuner tubes and resurrect the TV. So resurrecting the radio did quite a bit for the TV. I'm not going to recap this. The young guy that owns this is going to recap it. I don't want to take away his joy, his learning experience. So, but yeah, it needs all of these replaced. Every single one of these wax capacitors. These white ones, these wax ones, all of them. I need to clean the pins on this 12C6. This is awesome. An AM radio that idles along and guzzles up 90 watts. 95 VA. I mean, that's just Energy Star compliant. This would make Mr. Schwab very impressed. Very happy carbon credits, footprint, smiley, sunshine.
Fresh opportunities from the newer class of drugs used for weight loss.
Their thinking is that the people who are taking these weight loss drugs are already being more concerned about their health. So even if they eat less, they will probably choose meals kava over, snacks or other types of junk food.
Others are betting diners will still want to grab a bite with family and friends.
There are occasions, as they call them in the restaurant.
I pulled the tube out, cleaned the pins, and sprayed some cleaner in there. That socket is just baked. That socket needs to be replaced. The audio output tube socket. And I'm looking at that voltage on pin 2 again, now that the thing is fired up. And it's 2.6 volts. So either it's that leaky capacitor or it's the tube is gassy, the tube is damaged. Maybe we'll change that capacitor just so we change at least one capacitor in the radio. Isn't that a must? Since this is just an audio coupling capacitor, I'm going to pull one lead of the paper capacitor out and put this in series with it. I don't want to disturb the TV too much. I want the younger guy who owns it to be able to restore it and get it right. And I don't want to start doing it for him. So we're just doing this to satisfy the internet with at least one capacitor changed for any radio to work with tubes in it. And try and get that voltage off there. Now you can see this tube is a little bit discolored. The solder looks okay. It doesn't look like a dry or cracked. So I think it's just the tube socket. It's very loose. It's baked. Crappy, yes, but does it do what a capacitor should do? Get the DC off of the grid? It does.
For all our details, visit bobsmithbmw.com/disclaimers.
Bob Smith BMW is proud to offer you the...
Try and squeeze these pins together.
Putin will be running for re-election. What will almost certainly be his fifth term as Russian president. The Times article says Putin will deal with complaints about the Ukraine as he tries to win over voters.
The war has been going on for 22 months.
This socket is really bad.
Laura Lynch, died. Crash near El Paso. This is CBS News.
Staples stores provide innovative...
All the lipsticks are gone, like everything. Like I tried looking for eyebrow gel and that's sold out. Like
Eyebrow gel?
Like very crowded.
And you can expect a lot more stuff to be grabbed up.
Eyebrow gel. That's what this TV needs, some eyebrow gel with crepe erase and linzest and a little Sky Rizzy.
Closing early tomorrow ahead of the holiday. So if you still need to buy some gifts or food for this weekend, make sure that you get it.
So we have basically 0 volts on the tube side now, and on the other side we have leaky capacitor. So that should help a little bit, but that tube socket is really junk. I mean, I don't know if that's why they condemn the TV, but that thing is, I mean, you see I have to have it just teetering balanced on the edge there for it to work. So anyway, I think we're good here. I think we can move off of this part 2 onto the TV part, which would probably be quite thrilling. So anyway, pretty impressive radio. I'm very surprised it doesn't have silver mica disease.
One way they can save, the other ways they can save is their shopping during their holiday shop.
For this, but you've got to understand how it all works literally in your head first. So we're going to be talking about the science, the neuroscience of procrastination, how to beat it.
Yes, the neuroscience of procrastination. I'll smoke a joint to that.